Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Chairman, distinguished members of the Ulama, distinguished elders, my dear brother Mufti Sahib, brothers, sisters, comrades and friends, Assalamu alaikum. It is a great sadness to me that I return here to the heart of my old parliamentary constituency on such a melancholy occasion as this. This foul massacre, this act of mass murder, even at the smallest of the figures quoted, worse than 9/11, which shook the world. After 9/11, they said the world would never be the same again. It is abundantly clear already, after this May massacre of these thousands of martyrs, Bangladesh will never be the same again. Inshallah. And should not be the same again. Bangladesh cannot tolerate a government of mass murderers of its own people. It's time for Hasina to be overthrown by revolution in the streets of Bangladesh. That's the only answer. Because make no mistake about it, there will be no free and fair elections in Bangladesh. Either those elections will never take place, or if they take place, do you think that a government that will massacre thousands of its own people, many of them while they were asleep, is not capable of rigging the elections so that they guarantee that they cannot lose? It is an absurd idea. Only popular power, people's power in Bangladesh will extirpate this excrescence which calls itself a government, which is in fact an agent of a foreign government in Bangladesh. I don't know who carried out the killing, but I see the hand of foreign intelligence agencies in this attack. And we have to demand, and I will do so in Parliament on Monday, the same kind of international response to this crime as there was to the crime of 9/11, 2001. This government came to power, and I said so at the time, I said so in Dhaka, with no other project than to hang people for crimes they say were committed 40 years ago. They have no other agenda. They have no economic policy. They have no social policy. They have no program for the development of Bangladesh. Only like a stuck record, seeking to fool the people of Bangladesh, infatuate them with 40-year-old crimes. Well, the crimes of May 2013 are much fresher than any crimes committed 40 years ago. I'm against hanging anybody. I'm against killing anybody. But the government of Bangladesh has killed forever any idea that it is capable of running the 8th largest country in the world, the 8th most populous country in the world. A massacre like you've just been watching has taken place and has barely made it onto the news in the mainstream media in Western countries, proving once again, as 9/11 proved, that the blood of some people is more valuable than the blood of others, and that the blood of Muslims, especially when there's no oil or gas involved, the blood of Muslims, they think, is the cheapest of all. Well, it's not cheap to us. And as Mufti Saab said, long after the gunfire has stilled, long after the weeping has ceased, the sons and the daughters, the children and the widows of these shaheed will need to be supported. Otherwise our protestations are merely words, and action speaks louder than words. So I'm honored to have been asked to speak at this event this evening, but I'll be disappointed if Mufti Saab's fundraising for the families of the martyrs does not reach expectations. This has been a dreadful few weeks for Bangladesh. A week ago or so, I launched a campaign in Parliament on the order paper before this massacre occurred about the massacre of workers in Bangladesh, massacred by unscrupulous employers who turned out miraculously to be leading office bearers of Hasina's party, who brought the roof down upon more than 800 workers and their children who live in the factory, who sleep in the factory.
It's over 1,000 now.
More than 1,000 now. Workers murdered by their employer. The house brought down upon them by greed, by a wish to squeeze even more profit, sweat, tears and now blood of the workers in Bangladesh. I said in Parliament a week ago that there's blood on the prophets, there's blood on the garments, and the British government has a responsibility to ensure that British companies whose owners walk around in the House of Lords as respectable citizens, the British government has a responsibility to make sure that British companies are not profiting from the misery, the suffering and now the death of working people in Bangladesh. And I said in Parliament a week ago, before this massacre, that this crime against the garment workers in Bangladesh rendered Hasina unfit to govern the great people of Bangladesh. And now this, on top of that massacre of the workers, comes this massacre of the scholars, the ulama, the faithful people, the shaheed, who have been slaughtered, no other word for it, slaughtered by heavily armed gunmen working for a gang of criminals. Lastly, my last point, every single day I telephone the British Foreign Office and demand a report on the investigation into the abduction and possible murder of my friend, my comrade, Ilyas Ali, a great Bangladeshi, a great man who was kidnapped with his driver and who has never been seen and may have been killed. Every day I ask the British government what they are doing to push the government of Bangladesh to solve this crime. And every day, answer comes there none. So I tell the British Foreign Office this: I will never stop looking for Ilyas Ali. I will never stop standing up for the garment workers and the factory workers of Bangladesh. I will never leave the people of Bangladeshi origin here in Tower Hamlets, or in Newham, or in Bradford where I am now. And I will never stop campaigning until this criminal gang in Dhaka are brought to book. Wassalamu alaikum Thank you very much indeed.